Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at number 7. The greatest common factor of 40 and another number, so 40 and some number we don't know, is 4. Which of these could be the other number? Choose all of the correct answers. All right, so we have to pick which ones because it's going to be more than one. Now, we have a couple ways we can handle this. One way is to kind of speculate what the Venn diagram would look like if we finish. So for 40, we know that 4 is supposed to be the GCF, so let's just put that in the lineup of both. And if we think about what would the other number be here, the other number would be 10, right? And if we were to just keep branching, then these green numbers here, would end up being in common, right? They'd be in common. All right, so if this is the finishing branch and we end up, circling these numbers and writing them as common factors and getting 4, we have to ask ourselves what numbers could it be? So one strategy might be to actually take each number and put it in and see if that, if that ends up being the case. Now, another strategy is to just say to yourself, well, all right, so if this, let's take the number 12 as a hypothetical example, as one of the choices. So let's say we were to put this here, right? If we put this here, is 4 a factor of 12? Yep, it is. And what would the other factor be? The other factor would be 3. So, and if we were to finish this and do the prime factorization of this, and I'll just finish branching this, would we get 4? Would we get 4? Would we still have just the two matches and we get 4? So if you're saying to yourself, yeah, then that's one you're going to pick. Now, another strategy that you might consider using is the idea of actually listing out the factors of 40. So let's show that down here. If we list out the factors of 40, and we did like 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 3 doesn't go in, but 4 does. 4 and 10, 5 goes in. 5 with 8. 6 doesn't go in. 7 doesn't go in. And we already have 8. So here's our complete list for 40. Now remember what they're saying here is that 4, if we were to come up with one of these other numbers, if we were to substitute one of these numbers in this box and list out all the factors, what this is saying is that 4 would be the GCF. Now, there may be other factors, right, that are in common, but 4, they're saying, is the greatest common factor. Now, keep in mind that we talked about a strategy in class that if you're looking at two numbers, so you know how we have the number 160 is on the list, we have the number 80 on the list. So if we had to find the GCF of 40 and 80, I just want to remind you of something we talked about in class. And that's the idea that if you have two numbers and the smaller number is a factor of the bigger number, then the smaller number is the GCF. Let me say that again. If you have two numbers and the smaller number is a factor of the bigger number, the smaller number is the GCF. So remember, we want the GCF to be 4. So that knowing that and applying that thinking and strategy should help you to eliminate some of the choices, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so if you have no idea what I was just talking about just then I'm going to suggest you kind of press on with the idea of either substituting these into this box and going ahead and doing the trees and the Venn diagram, or actually listing out all the factors of each of these and seeing if 4 is in fact the greatest common factor. Because remember, there's a difference between greatest common factor and just a regular common factor. All right, good luck finishing that up.